Let's take a look at a typical subnetting problem using here, of course, a Class B address. That happens to be, by the way, the CPCC Class B address given to us by the Internet people. Of course, it would be a /16. And of course, that means its default subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Okay, a couple things here. First, we want to take this problem to create 3 subnets given that address. Remembering a couple of things here. First of all, that our magic numbers, some people call them just simply the bits from left to right as you go through a byte in binary arithmetic. The first bit is 128, then 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1. Okay. And there's nothing wrong if you're taking a test, and you can do this, by the way, you're taking the CCA test. I'm talking about the certification test. You can write those things down, remember. Okay, here's where we run into a little bit of problems. Up until middle of the 1990s, 1995 to be exact, that you could not use subnet 0. You always could use all 1 subnets, okay? You may see somewhere, I think currently test out is showing you that it should be 2 to the n minus 2 to the n minus 2, or you multiply it out, and then when you do that, you got to subtract 2. Well, an RFC number 1878 negated that in 1995, but some people still continue to do it for, I don't know, nostalgia, what do you want to call it. But any Cisco router with an operating system that was installed after about 1998 will work fine. Okay, so we're going to use 2 to the n. Now, with host, I would write that differently. It would be 2 to the h standing for host minus 2, because that is required. Remember, on a network, the first address is the network address. Like 152.43.0.0 is a network address. It cannot be used for host. Likewise, the broadcast address. Now, the default broadcast address for the entire network would be what? 152.43.255.255. Okay. By the way, I happen to write that down in terms of binary. 152 is 100110000. The 43 is 0010111. Okay. Take a look at 43. You're saying you have no 128s, you have no 64s, you have 32, you have no 16s, you have 8. So 32 and 8 is 40. You have no 4s. We have 2 and 1. 2 and 1 is 3. Add to the 40 you already got. You got 43. Okay. Okay, so far. Of course, if we wanted to rate our subnet mask here, our default subnet mask, it would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Oh, God, how many times I've done that? Okay, now, the question is, we need to have 3 subnets. Okay, well, which power of 2, in other words, what can I replace here for the n that would give me at least 3 and not any extra? Okay, well, the answer is simply 2. 2 to the second power means 2 times 2, that's 4. Okay, maybe you can see what's going on here. When you talk about that, remember going back that 2 to the n minus 2, that means that you cannot have those first and last addresses. No, you can't do all zeros, all ones. So if we could not use that 2 to the n, you had to do the minus 2, we'd say we'd have to go to a 3, because 2 to the n minus 2 would be only 2 subnets, and we need 3. So we'd have a whole bunch of subnets we weren't going to use. I mean, we already have to create an extra subnets using classful subnetting. So you gotta understand why we say that. Okay, so let's just say what we're really trying to say here. What we're really trying to say is at this point right here, we're going to cut things off, and everything over here is going to be network numbers, and everything over here is going to be host numbers. Now let's think about that for a second. What we're really saying, we've got these things right here, those 2 bits, what are the possible combinations you can get of ones and zeros with 2 bits? Well, obviously you can start out with 0, 0. And then it would be 0, 1, and then 1, 0, and then 1, 1. There's your 4 possible combinations. Those are your 4 subnets. Well, let's just say, what does 0, 0 mean? Well, 0, 0, 0, right? But what does 0, 1 mean? Well, what bit is this little fella right here? Okay. In other words, if I change this to a 1, what is that? Well, go back up here to our list. What's the bit over here? Well, this guy right here, 64-bit. Okay, so our first subnet would be subnet 0. Our second subnet would be 64. Okay, then you say, okay, well, what if it was a 1 in the 0? You know, this is 0. This is 64. What's 1 and 0? Well, what's that 1 represent? It represents the 128, so that's 128. And now we got to say, okay, well, what about 1, 1? Well, that means we've got to add these two together, 128 and 64, and that is 192. Now remember, these are network numbers, okay? Okay, but coincidentally, what will my subnet mask be now? Well, our subnet mask is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So what is that going to be now in decimal? 255, 255, 25. Whoops. So used to writing it that way. It's 192.0. 255.255.192.0. That's the subnet mask. Okay, now the question becomes that host range question. Okay, I got 4 subnets. What's the range of addresses going to be for each of those subnets? Well, let's see if I can get my program here to cooperate with me here. I want to create another new page. Whoops, cancel, whoops. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We've got 152.43.0.0, and our new CIDR notation, as we call it, would say we've used now 18 bits, right? 18 bits or subnet mask. So we set it again, 255.255.192.0. Okay. So our first address, we do this thing in binary. That's why you always do this. We're saying this here can't change. This here can't change. Those were given. We can't change what the internet folks gave to us. So what we're always saying is we're going to start with this byte right here as 00. But then after that, I'm going to draw a big line here. After that, everything else can be host addresses. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what's that number? Our first range is going to be 152.43.0.1. And what would be the other end of that? Well, that would be what? 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 0, because all of ones that would make it the broadcast. So what is that? Let's just see here. Let's go a little try up to. Okay, this is now the 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and 1 bit right here. Okay, those 6 bits. And how much does that add up to? 63. Right? So it's 152.43.63. And what's all this over here? When you add them all up, if those were all ones, look at it this way, if those were all ones, it would be 255. You leave off the 0, leave off the 1 bit, make it a 0, that means it's 254. So that, 254. Of course, broadcast would be 255. I'll be able to put that BR 255. Okay, I'm going to probably run out of whiteboard here again, but let's just take a look now. What the next combination will be 0, 1. Right, this is the first. It will be 0, 1. Right? Draw a little line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1 up to 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 7, dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now we got a little bit careful, right? Because now this is all 1 byte here. Okay. So what bit is this? Well, that's the 64 bit. So our second here, our network address is really what? 152.43.64.0, and our range is going to be then from 152.43.64.1 up to 152.43. Well, all of this, whoops, go to the line I didn't mean to. All of this is 255 without the 120. Oh, gee, that's 127. And of course, all this is always going to be 254. And of course, broadcast would make it 255. So what's the next one going to be? Well, third one would be what? 152.43.128.0. All I'm doing now is saying, okay, I'm going to switch this from 101, make it 10, 10, right? 10 with 128. So our range 152, 43, 128.1 up to 152.43. And what's all that going to be? Well, let's say leave off the 64 bits. What are we going to get? Oh, 191.254. Of course, the next thing is going to be at 192.0. So that's the last one you have. Of course, 255 broadcast. And that's it.